Bullies on bikes target Jason Statham. What happens next will shock you. Before we continue this story, let us know where you're watching from. If you enjoy stories like this, and subscribe to the channel because tomorrow we have another special story for you. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the quiet streets of a suburban neighborhood. Jason Statham, known for his tough guy roles in action-packed films, was enjoying a rare moment of peace. He had just finished a workout and was taking a leisurely stroll, relishing the tranquility that surrounded him. Little did he know, this calm would soon be shattered. As he walked, the distant roar of motorcycle engines began to fill the air. Jason glanced over his shoulder, spotting a group of bikers approaching. They were a rough-looking bunch, clad in leather jackets and exuding an air of intimidation. Jason's instincts kicked in. He had faced tougher foes on screen, but this was real life, and he was alone. The bikers slowed as they neared him, their laughter echoing off the pavement. Jason's heart raced, not out of fear, but from the thrill of the unexpected. He had always been one to stand his ground, and today would be no different. The lead biker, a burly man with tattoos snaking up his arms, locked eyes with Jason, a smirk spreading across his face. "Look what we have here," the biker sneered, revving his engine. "Movie star out for a stroll. What's the matter, Statham? Lost your way?" Jason's expression remained calm, his posture relaxed. He had faced countless challenges in his career, but this was a different kind of showdown. The bikers were looking for trouble, and he was about to show them that they had picked the wrong target. The lead biker dismounted his motorcycle, swaggering toward Jason with an air of arrogance. His friends followed suit, forming a semicircle around the actor, their laughter ringing out like a taunt. Jason stood his ground, his mind racing through the countless fight scenes he had choreographed over the years. This was not a movie, but the principles remained the same. Assess, adapt, and act. Thought you could just walk through our neighborhood without a care? The biker challenged, his voice dripping with mockery. "You think you're tough, huh? Let's see what you've got." Jason's eyes narrowed slightly, but he maintained his composure. "I'm not here to cause trouble," he replied, his voice steady. "But if you're looking for a fight, you might want to reconsider." The bikers exchanged glances, their confidence wavering for just a moment. They had expected an easy target, someone to intimidate without resistance. Instead, they found themselves facing a man who had spent his life mastering the art of combat. The burly biker stepped closer, invading Jason's personal space, but Jason didn't flinch. "Is that a threat?" the biker sneered, puffing out his chest. "You think you can take us all on?" Jason took a deep breath, feeling the adrenaline coursing through his veins. His tone calm yet firm. "I just need to show you that you've made a mistake." With that, the tension in the air thickened and the biker's bravado began to crack. They had underestimated Jason Statham, and now they were about to find out just how wrong they were. The burly biker, clearly irritated by Jason's calm demeanor, took a step back, signaling to his friends that he was ready to escalate the situation. "You think you're some kind of tough guy, huh? Let's see how tough you really are," he shouted, raising his fists in a classic fighting stance. Jason's heart raced, but he remained composed. He had faced countless adversaries in his films, but this was different. This was real life, and he had to think strategically. The bikers were fueled by bravado, but Jason had the advantage of experience and discipline. As the lead biker lunged forward, Jason sidestepped with practiced precision, allowing the man's momentum to carry him past. The biker stumbled momentarily off balance, and Jason seized the opportunity. He delivered a swift kick to the man's side, sending him crashing to the ground. The other bikers gasped, their laughter fading as they realized they were witnessing something unexpected. Jason stood tall, his stance firm, ready for whatever came next. The remaining bikers hesitated, exchanging nervous glances. They had come looking for a fight, but now they were faced with a formidable opponent. "Get him!" one of the bikers shouted, breaking the momentary silence. They charged at Jason, but he was ready. With fluid movements, he dodged their attacks, using their own momentum against them. A well-placed punch sent one biker sprawling, while a swift kick to another's knee brought him down with a yelp. The crowd that had gathered around the park began to murmur, their eyes wide with disbelief. They had come to witness a confrontation, but what they were seeing was something entirely different. A masterclass in self-defense. Jason's confidence grew as he realized that he was not just defending himself. He was teaching these bullies a lesson they would never forget. The atmosphere shifted dramatically as Jason continued to fend off the bikers with a combination of agility and skill. The initial bravado of the group was quickly replaced by uncertainty. They had expected an easy target, but Jason was proving to be anything but. With each calculated move, he demonstrated that he was not just an actor, he was a fighter. As the lead biker struggled to regain his footing, Jason took a moment to assess the situation. Two bikers remained, their expressions now a mix of anger and fear. They had witnessed their friend go down, and the reality of their predicament began to sink in. Jason's calm demeanor contrasted sharply with their escalating panic. "Is this really how you want to spend your Saturday?" Jason called out, his voice steady and clear. "Picking on someone who isn't looking for a fight? You're better than this." The words hung in the air, and for a brief moment the bikers hesitated. Jason's confidence was infectious, and the crowd watching began to cheer him on, their encouragement fueling his resolve. The bikers exchanged glances, their bravado faltering as they realized they were outmatched. "Let's just get out of here," one of them muttered, clearly shaken. But the lead biker, still seething with anger, refused to back down. "No way, we're not done yet," he shouted, charging at Jason once more. This time, however, Jason was ready. He sidestepped the attack, grabbing the biker's arm and using his momentum to throw him off balance. The biker stumbled, crashing into a nearby bench, and the crowd erupted in cheers. The remaining biker, now visibly shaken, took a step back, reconsidering his options. Jason stood tall, breathing steadily, his eyes locked on the last remaining threat. "You can walk away now, or you can find out just how wrong you were to mess with me," he said, his voice firm. The choice was clear, and the tension in the air was palpable. The remaining biker, now visibly shaken, glanced back at his fallen comrades. The realization that they had underestimated Jason Statham was dawning on him, and the bravado that had fueled their aggression was quickly evaporating. He took a step back, weighing his options, but the lead biker's pride wouldn't let him retreat. "Don't be a coward," the lead biker shouted, struggling to get back on his feet. "We can take him together." Jason, sensing the desperation in their voices, remained calm. He had faced many adversaries in his career, but this was a different kind of battle, one that required not just physical strength, but mental fortitude. "You really want to do this?" he asked, his tone steady. "You think this is going to end well for you?" The crowd around them had grown larger, drawn in by the spectacle. Parents held their children close, while teenagers recorded the unfolding drama on their phones. Jason could feel the energy of the crowd, their support bolstering his confidence. He was not just fighting for himself. He was standing up for anyone who had ever been bullied or underestimated. The last biker hesitated, glancing at his fallen friends, then back at Jason. "We don't have to fight," he said, his voice wavering. "Let's just walk away." Jason nodded, sensing the shift in the biker's resolve. "That's the smart choice," he replied, his voice calm. "You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Just walk away and learn from this." The lead biker, still struggling to regain his composure, looked between Jason and his friend. The tension hung in the air, thick and electric. Finally, with a defeated sigh, he relented. "Fine, let's go," he muttered, turning away from the confrontation. As the bikers retreated, the crowd erupted in applause, their cheers echoing through the park. Jason stood tall, a sense of pride swelling within him. He had not only defended himself, but had also sent a powerful message about standing up against bullies. Today, he had shown that true strength lies not in aggression, but in the courage to stand firm and the wisdom to choose peace over conflict. As the bikers rode off, their engines roaring in defeat, Jason took a moment to catch his breath. The adrenaline that had surged through him began to ebb, replaced by a sense of relief and accomplishment. The crowd around him erupted into cheers, their applause ringing in his ears like a victorious anthem. "Did you see that?" a young boy exclaimed, his eyes wide with admiration. "You were amazing," Jason smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him. It was moments like these that reminded him of the impact one person could have on others, especially when standing up against bullying. Parents approached, expressing their gratitude. "Thank you for protecting our kids," one mother said, her voice filled with sincerity. "You showed them that it's okay to stand up for themselves." Jason nodded, appreciating their words. He had always believed in the importance of resilience and courage, and today had been a testament to that belief. As the crowd began to disperse, Jason spotted a familiar face in the distance. It was his friend and fellow actor, who had come to check on him after hearing about the commotion. "What? I heard there was a bit of a showdown," he said, chuckling as he approached. "You always know how to make an exit dramatic." Jason laughed. His friend nodded, understanding the weight of the situation. "You handled it like a pro. I'm proud of you." But as the excitement of the moment began to fade, Jason couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter was not just a random event. The bikers had come looking for trouble, and while they had backed down today, he knew that the world could be unpredictable. He had to remain vigilant, not just for himself, but for others who might find themselves in similar situations. As he walked away from the park, Jason reflected on the day's events. He had faced aggression head-on and emerged victorious, but he also understood that true strength was about more than just physical prowess. It was about standing up for what was right, inspiring others, and knowing when to choose peace over conflict. The following days passed in a blur of media attention and public admiration. News outlets picked up the story of Jason's confrontation with the bikers, and social media buzzed with clips of the incident. Fans praised his bravery, and many reached out to share their own stories of standing up to bullies. "I didn't come here to fight," he said, his voice calm but firm. "I came here to show that there's a better way to handle conflict. You don't have to resort to violence." The biker's expression hardened, but Jason could see the wheels turning in his mind. The crowd was watching, and the stakes were higher than ever. Would the biker choose to escalate the situation, or would he reconsider his path? The cafe was thick with tension as Jason stood his ground, facing the lead biker. The air was charged with anticipation, and the patrons watched in silence, their eyes darting between the two men. Jason could feel the weight of their gazes, and he knew that this moment could either escalate into chaos or serve as a turning point. The biker's smirk faded, replaced by a scowl. You think you can lecture me about conflict resolution?" He spat, his voice dripping with disdain. "You don't know anything about my life or the struggles I've faced." Jason took a step closer, his voice steady and sincere. "You're right. I don't know your story, but I do know that violence isn't the answer. It only leads to more pain and suffering. You have a choice here. Continue down this path or find a better way." For a moment, the biker hesitated, his tough exterior cracking. Jason could see the conflict in his eyes, the internal struggle between pride and the desire for change. The other bikers shifted uncomfortably, unsure of how to react. They had come expecting a confrontation, but now they were witnessing something unexpected, a challenge to their way of life. "Was it I listened to you?" the biker finally asked, his voice softer but still laced with defiance. "You're just an actor. What do you know about real life?" Jason took a deep breath, recalling the countless roles he had played, the characters he had embodied. "I may be an actor, but I've faced my own battles. I've learned that true strength comes from within, from the choices we make. You can choose to be a bully, or you can choose to be better. It's your call." The biker's gaze dropped to the floor, and for a fleeting moment, Jason thought he might actually be getting through to him. The tension in the cafe began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of hope. The other bikers exchanged glances, their bravado wavering as they processed Jason's words. "Maybe you're right," the lead biker muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. "But it's not that easy." Jason nodded, understanding the complexity of the situation. "I know it's not easy. Change never is. But it starts with a single step. You have the power to choose a different path." As the biker looked up, Jason saw a flicker of something in his eyes, perhaps a glimmer of realization or a desire for redemption. The moment hung in the air, charged with possibility. Would the biker take that step, or would he retreat back into the shadows of his past? The cafe was silent, the weight of the moment pressing down on everyone present. Jason stood before the lead biker, his heart racing as he awaited a response. The tension was palpable, and he could feel the eyes of the patrons on him, each person holding their breath, hoping for a resolution. After what felt like an eternity, the biker finally spoke, his voice steadier now. "You really think I can just change overnight?" There was a hint of vulnerability in his tone, a crack in the armor he had built around himself. Jason took a step closer, his expression earnest. "A change doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with a choice. You don't have to be defined by your past. You can choose to be better, for yourself and for those around you." The biker's gaze shifted to his friends who stood behind him, their expressions a mix of confusion and curiosity. They had come looking for a fight, but now they were witnessing something entirely different, a moment of reflection and potential transformation. "Maybe you're right," the biker said, his voice softer now. "I've been living in anger for too long. It's hard to let go." Jason nodded, understanding the struggle. "It is hard, but you don't have to do it alone. There are people who can help you find a better path. You can be a part of something positive instead of living in conflict." The biker looked around at his friends who were now watching him with a mix of hope and uncertainty. "I don't want to be a bully anymore," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I want to change." A wave of relief washed over Jason as he realized the impact of his words. "Then take that first step. It's never too late to start fresh. You have the power to redefine who you are." The lead biker took a deep breath, his shoulders relaxing as he made a decision. "All right," he said, looking at Jason with newfound respect. "I'll try. I'll talk to my friends and we'll figure this out together." The cafe erupted in applause, the patrons cheering for the unexpected turn of events. Jason felt a sense of pride swell within him. He had not only defended himself, but had also inspired change in someone who had once been an adversary. As the bikers left the cafe, Jason knew that this was just the beginning. He had shown that standing up against bullying could lead to understanding and growth. The world was full of challenges, but with courage and compassion, it was possible to turn conflict into connection. Walking out of the cafe, Jason felt a renewed sense of purpose. He was ready to continue his mission of empowering others, knowing that every small step toward kindness could create ripples of change in the world. And as he looked around at the community that had rallied behind him, he realized that together, they could face any challenge that lay ahead.